We're delighted that this is the 10th year that we have had this event, and we've had some just wonderful people, as you can see when you look inside the program. My mother used to say, if you are really interested in being something besides just something, you should surround yourself with people who are more intelligent than you are. And it seems I never had a problem doing that. And then a short while ago, I picked up a book, and the author said, if you find that you believe that you're the smartest person in the room, more than likely you're in the wrong room. So anyway, at this point, I would like to have Jill Greenhog come up and welcome you on behalf of the college.
I'm trying to decide if I'm in the wrong room or not. So, good evening. My name is Jill Greenhall, and I have the honor of welcoming you to Century College. I serve as the executive director of the Century College Foundation. And as you know, this event is co-sponsored by the education foundations of the 3 schools in this area. And so I want to just welcome you to, as I said, welcoming you to Century College. How many of you have been here before? A few of you? Okay. If you don't know, we are the largest 2-year school in the state of Minnesota. We are both a community college and a technical college. We have students here for continuing education, non-credit courses, students here for credit courses, students from our schools in PSEO. So we have the whole continuum. I think our youngest students, 16, and certainly up into the 60s. Actually, we have a fellow by the name of Wayne Haig who retired from teaching chemistry. Now he's taking biology. He just never had time before. So, and he must be a 70-something. So, but the college is a community asset. This library is an asset, and we would like to have you know that not only are you here tonight for this incredible event honoring one of our citizens, but this is a place that you are welcome anytime for any reason. So I would like to also announce we have the president of the Century College Foundation Board of Directors, Steve Ritt. Steve? Okay. Steve is a local businessman who is the vice president of North Star Bank. And we also have Kate Christopher, who serves on the committee. And Kate is the vice president, maybe future president, of the Century College Foundation Board. And at this point, I am going to be turning it over to Judd, but I did want to make sure that, are we going to be acknowledging all of the members of the boards of directors from the Matamidi Area Education Foundation and White Bear? Excellent. Okay. So again, you're part of a community at Century College. We're part of you, and you're welcome here, and we're so happy to host this event tonight. Judd?
Thanks, Jill. I lost my train of thought, but it'll come back around the corner here in a minute. Anyway, this is certainly the point where we'd like you, those of you who don't know all of us, to know who we are. And we do have, if you would stand up when I mention your name, Mary West, who's a sister of George, and her husband is here, and Jan Knott, and her husband, Jan, is also a sister, and Diane Hill is the wife of the late George Hill. Thank you. Did Nancy Roth get here? Okay, I thought I would see her if she was here. Okay. Jenny Netto, is she here from the White Bear Foundation? Let's stand up, Jenny, so those of us who don't know you will know you. And Suzanne Anderson from the Matamidi Foundation. Okay, and of course you all know Jill. We have a member of the Montemita School Board who is an ex officio. Yeah. Yeah. Julie? Okay. And I noticed some of the past recipients of the award walked in. I'm not sure that I have all of them, but I'm going to read off the list, which is in front of you, and I would like them to stand when I read their name. Bill Rust, who I don't think I saw. Ted Blasing, who I did see. Isn't that? No, okay. That's farther down the list. Ellen Bruner, who I know is here. Thank you, Ollie. Did Lori Alness make it tonight? Okay. Carol McFarland, who I know made it tonight. Thank you, Carol. Jackie Reese, are you here tonight? Okay. Next person I know is not here. David Garenbeck is here tonight. I've seen him several times. Thanks, David. And Dale Johnson, last year's recipient. Dale, thank you. Thank you very much. With that, I'd like to introduce Kevin from the Montemita School Board, and he's a member of the foundation of the college, and as such is a representative to this group. Kate Christopher is also from the college foundation. And let's see, David Bennett is a member from the Montemita Foundation. And I don't think Eunice Coate made it, did she? And Mary Kowitz is a member of the White Bear Foundation. And with that, Kevin is going to thrill you with the history of this event.
Those are some tall words there, Judd. Well, thank you all for coming tonight, and it gives me great pleasure to see all of you here. There is a common thing. I think that if we were to give accolades to everyone that deserves accolades, we'd be here for over an hour, because everybody here gives of their time and to our communities, and it's awesome. But tonight we're here to celebrate the 2016 recipient for all of the work that Greg Bartz has done in our communities over the past many years. And every year we select someone that is deserving. There's a nomination process, and Shane Hoffer from the Y will speak to that a little bit later. But I think it's important every year that we do, recognize someone or a couple. And tonight, Greg Bartz. And with Greg is his wife, Sandy, and son, Jace, who just, I understand, ran the 2-mile race for White Bear Schools and did well. And thank you for coming tonight. So in addition to Greg and the celebration of Greg's work in the community, which really is legendary, and that's not an understatement at all. You've done so many good things. But we also have the legacy of the Legacy Award, because it was 10 years ago, this is the 10th year. And, for something like this to continue is wonderful. Sometimes these things start and then they don't continue. But I think we have an initiative going, and we certainly have no lack of volunteers in our community to have this award. So 10 years ago, there was this idea of honoring the lives of Stan and Doris and all they did in our community, all the different volunteer things they did. And the common thread of all of their work, this is just some of it, but they were instrumental in the founding of the 3 foundations. They were kind of part of that. And Stan, as I understand, was always kind of the accountant person. That's right, isn't it? And was always kind of doing the books, but was the driving force for that. And we thought that it only fitting there be an award that is bestowed on someone that gives of themselves each year. And so how it came about, this is kind of the legend story, was at Stan's memorial service, there were 3 little boys sitting in the back of the church talking out of school. And they were the Century College president, who was no longer I can say this because these people aren't in their roles anymore, but the Century College president, Larry Latecki, and two superintendents from White Bear and Matamidi, and they were talking about, gee, how can we do something to remember the great work that Stan and Doris did, and how do we do this? So, you just envision these three in the back of the church kind of doing something. Anyway, pay attention. So, volunteerism. I mean, I don't have to tell this crowd, what volunteerism is, but the dictionary defines it as generally considered an altruistic activity and is intended to promote the goodness or improve the human life. And I think that's a perfect descriptor of what you do and have done in our communities. Political science has shown that there is kind of a close link between volunteering and being active in politics. And I would offer that our communities are well blessed and are above average, as Garrison Keillor would say, in volunteering and voting. I think that there is a profound sense of community in White Bear, Matamidi, and all of the other communities. And Century College certainly is, we have a lot to be proud of Century College, and they're kind of the glue that so many people from our communities go to Century College, and it's something that we need to be proud of. The work that the Matamidi Area Foundation and the White Bear Foundations do is wonderful. So I think that we here today should just really reflect on what Stan and Doris started, and that we have something that's not hopefully going to end, which is this idea that people volunteer and give to their communities. I would like to, again, we've given kind of the plug of the foundations and all the great work they do. So if you haven't participated in some of the activities that happen in Matamidi and White Bear and Century Foundations, please be a part. They do some really great work. There's some really great scholarships that are out there. But anyway, this is our 10th year. It's wonderful. And I think that there is no shortage of people that give of themselves to our communities. And I'd like to thank Greg for all he has done and continues to do in our communities. Thank you, Greg.
Greg, do you feel intimidated? Chet, well, give us time. We'll keep working on that. It's my pleasure now to introduce a gentleman that I suppose I first met maybe 10 years ago, maybe 11. And in that interim, he's done a marvelous job to rebuild and expand the White Bear YMCA. And so at this point, I'd like to have Shane Hoffer come up and tell us what he knows about Greg Bartz.
And yes, Greg, what do I know about you? Sandy made me promise not to go there, but, maybe later for those that want to take me out. I'm just kidding. I think, thank you for the kind introduction, Judd. Very much a pleasure. And it is really, truly my pleasure and an honor to be with you. And really a humbling experience to have the opportunity to nominate somebody like Greg for this recognition. So when I tell you a little bit about what Greg has done, there's a lot of titles that come with his name. And I'm not even going to talk about some of the most important, like father and husband and caregiver. But I think what comes behind all of this and with it, first and foremost, I want to recognize is a family sacrifice that makes all of this possible. And so, Jason, you're on account of your other two brothers, Sandy. We recognize that when people give in the way that the Bartz family has given and the way that Greg has been able to lead, it's really a family affair. And so I think it's really important for all of us to know and recognize and honor and thank all three of you, all five of you, for everything that, you as a family and through Greg's leadership have been able to contribute. So back on this titles thing. Now, there's a lot of people out in the world who get titles. And I think I'm talking to a room of doers. And so you recognize right away that sometimes when you list titles that a person has had, sometimes people get titles by virtue of who they are. Sometimes you get titles because you're a person and you get that title by virtue of what you do. Greg's a doer, right? We all know this. Greg's not only a doer, he's a visionary. He's someone who has been able to take and move forward with any number of community needs. And, you know, like a firefighter, he runs toward the problem. And whether that's been in a school setting or a nonprofit setting, that's what Greg has done. And so I'm going to just share briefly. I had the opportunity to collaborate with Dr. Michael Lovett and the superintendent for White Bear Lake Area School District. If you haven't met him, Dr. Lovett, you could wave back there, please. In addition to being a phenomenal friend and leader, really smart basketball player. If anyone's interested, to find him down at the Y about 9 o'clock one of these evenings. So, but you know, as we were talking about Greg and things come out, you know, as Greg is a co-chair of a strategic planning group that was really critical to the school district, as he took significant leadership roles with the YMCA in bringing our capital campaign to bear and really designing and planning the way the whole layout of our very successful capital campaign breakfast was going to go, and then providing leadership in terms of how we were going to reimagine the little old Northeast Family YMCA into what it became today. You know, it became clear that in all of these different places, Greg left his fingerprint. He didn't just take a title. He didn't just do a job and be accountable to it. All of things which are, you know, any leader would be grateful for. But Greg left a distinct imprint on each one of these projects. He took, as a leader, his vision for how we could be a better community and a better place for our young people, for our families, for our adults, and he went and he drove it. He's been to Russia and all over the world building international relationships, both in Rotary and in the school district. He served as president of our Rotary Club in White Bear Lake. And if you don't know, that is an extremely, what's the right word, guys and gals who have been president, it's just a really involved job. There's so much that goes with it. And he's just done a great job with it. He's served as a co-chair as well for the 2011 levy campaign for the White Bear Lake School District. He brought that to life in a way that you know, I think that was one of those opportunities our community had to really rally around the school district and bring it to life in a new way. And Greg found a way to bring that and bring it home. And again, none of these projects, I don't believe, would have taken on the character, the life, and sort of the robust nature that they gained over the time that they were developed and ultimately delivered without Greg's leadership. So as the opportunity came to Dr. Lovett and to me to consider this nomination, the form literally wrote itself. And as we were able to kind of look through all these different things, I mean, I'm not giving you the comprehensive list here. There's like all of this over here. There's a resume behind this. But I think the thing that I want to really impart upon you the most is this. In my career, my opportunity to be a leader, I've had the great blessing to work with any number of individuals who care truly, deeply, and wholeheartedly for the community. There are very few people who I have seen and met and had the pleasure of working with who have taken that and that willingness and drive to serve and to leave. It's about the Boy Scout motto, right? It's to leave us better off than he found it or she found it, than Greg. He has been an inspiration to me as a young leader in the YMCA and in the White Bear Lake community. He's been a role model. He's been someone I look to as someone I want to emulate personally and professionally. Also as a skier, I should add. And he's been someone that has been really, truly a ray of hope and optimism. No matter what the challenge, no matter what our community is facing, Greg has always been there, and he's been willing to tackle the biggest projects with the biggest smile and the most energy. So I hope and I fervently pray, Greg, that when we face further challenges in the community, that you'll be part of the team that rallies to bring us where we need to go. And Greg, it has been my honor and truly a humbling and fulfilling experience to work alongside you. And I'm so tickled and thrilled that I've had the opportunity to work with Dr. Love and others to nominate you tonight for this award. Congratulations, Greg. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, he didn't even have notes. And I got a whole sheet here, and I don't even think I need to use it now. Thank you, Shane. I think all of us, you talked about doers, and yeah, this room is full of doers. I think maybe, I don't want to speak for the 9 ahead of me, the 9 recipients of the Hill Legacy Award, but my assumption is maybe it's not about me. It shouldn't be about me. That's my attitude into this, And, this gave me pause when I was first nominated for it, and I got to tell you that story here in a second. And I stepped back to really start thinking about, okay, to quantify this. And see, I should stick to my script because it's in the script, and now I'm off base here, and it was stay in the right order, Greg. No, I don't really need it, but I'll start from the beginning. First, I want to say that I am so humbled and honored to be here tonight. I really am. Stick to the script, Greg. Here's a backup plan. I got a buddy in Denver who I was talking to, and he actually got the White Bear Lake Educational Foundation flyer in the mail, so he knew nothing about this. And he saw this, and he called me right away. And I says, Bermer, this is just not right. I feel bad. This shouldn't be me. It should be somebody else. And he says, just smile and wave. Smile and wave, boys. That's all you got to do. Smile and wave. So we'll go that route, huh? No, I am truly, truly honored. It was fun. A couple months ago, I was home. I just got home from a trip, and it was middle of the day. And I know my wife doesn't think I work very much, but I do. And I've been gone for a while, and happened to be home in the middle of the day, and my cell phone rang, and it was a number I didn't recognize, but I figured I was on a long trip, and should I answer this one or not? And I answered it, and it was Judd Marshall. And I've never met Judd Marshall. And he was on the line, and he introduces himself, and I'm going, isn't that the mayor in Matamita? And I just, okay, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm going, okay, what's this guy want? Okay. One of my kids is in Colorado. The other one's in Duluth, I think. And my other kid's at school right now. So I think I don't know, what is this? And I got great kids. I'm just teasing them behind their back, right? One of them's right here, and he's a great kid too. But so Judd, he started asking some questions, and he asked if I was familiar with the Hill Legacy Award. And I said, yeah, I am. I was here when Carol McFarland was the recipient a few years ago. I actually brought a group of open world delegates from Russia to that event because I thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to bring them in here and show them how we honor somebody in our community that's involved in the community. It wasn't really a good idea because we didn't have an interpreter that night, and they didn't understand a word that was going on. So the next day when I had an interpreter, we were able to explain what that thing was last night. So anyway, so I'm on the phone with Judd, and Judd starts explaining this to me. I said, yeah, okay, I'm familiar with it. And I'm going, okay, where's this going? And he says, just calling today to tell you that you've been nominated. And I thought, oh, you got to be kidding. Really? Me? Nominated for that? You got to be kidding me. And I'm thinking, okay, good. I just nominated. There's no way I'll win it, so it's all good, right? And so he's talking some more, and then he says, and I do have to disclose that you are the 2016 recipient of the Hill Legacy Award. I thought, oh, damn. He says, they're probably going to want me to show up and wear a suit and say something. And here we are, right? Okay. So I had it figured from the beginning. So that was the initial conversation that I had with Judd, and happy to meet Judd, and I'm grateful that now that I've got to meet him a little bit, and he seems to be a really good guy. So anyway, later that day, as I mentioned, I'd been out of town on a trip, and Sandy got home from work, and as we do in the evenings when we're catching up, we sit down, we have a glass of wine, and we kind of talk about the day, and I was filling her in on my trip, and I said, I got the strangest phone call today from Judd Marshall, the mayor of Matamita, called today and told me that I'm the 2016 recipient of the Hill Legacy Award. And I'm going, I can't believe it. Why would they choose me? This isn't right. She's got this little grin on her face, and I go, okay. I look at her and go, okay, what do you know? Come clean here. What is it? And she says, well, they had to know more about you. So they needed your resume and they needed some things. They called and I had to get on your computer and pull up your bio and your resume and stuff. And she was in on it. So anyway, but I was still just kind of beside myself. Wow, why is this me that's being chosen for this? And she says, well, let's think about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk through this, shall we? And I started thinking about volunteerism and things that I've done, trying to quantify it. And really, really, really a bad idea. Because, oh man, when I just first touched on, first thing that came to mind was, okay, I got an appointment tomorrow to give platelet donations. Does that count as volunteerism? And I'm thinking, well, platelets, I don't know if you've done platelets before, but it's a process. And it's the time you leave the house to get over the check-in at the Red Cross. You get hooked up, 2 needles in either arm, and you're there I'm hooked up for 2 hours and 10 minutes because apparently I'm pretty good at it. And they get a lot out of me, apparently, is what I hear. I go in there and check in, and I lay down, and next people get all set up, and they're leaving before I am. And but the whole process is better than 4 hours. So I do that every month. I do that in honor of my nephew who passed away from brain cancer and needed platelets along the way when he was going through chemo treatments. And so I've continued to do that. So I've been doing that for about 4 years. So you do the math on this, and that's about 50 hours a year. So already I'm at 200 hours. And one of the applications or one of the letters that either Dr. Lovett or Shane or somebody submitted in support of my nomination said something about I've offered and contributed thousands of hours of volunteering over the last 25 years. And I saw that and I thought, there's no way in the world. That's not right. And then, so I did that whole little exercise with the platelet thing, and well, that's 200 right there, and I didn't even count that. That wasn't even counted. So yeah, as Shane mentioned, and I did this afternoon, trying to get back to the reality of how much time. And Shane mentioned my Russia connections. And I've been to Russia 4 times, working with some schools there and universities there in the University of Minnesota, as well as the White Bear Lake schools. And I figured, okay, do I get credit for airplane off the ground to airplane return? Because those trips are, those are 10, 12-day trips sometimes, and that adds up in a hurry. So that's 1,000 hours right there. So yes, there are a lot of things that I've done over time that Shane touched on a bit there, and you're right, Judd, it did kind of got me nervous now all of a sudden. I was really calm up until Shane started talking about me there, and it kind of threw me off a bit here. Anyway, so when I really quantified the time that I spend helping people and doing volunteer work, I had to think of my business partner, Chip. And I got to apologize because, man, I'm spending way too much time doing volunteer stuff, and I got to work harder, all right? And thankfully that Chip and I have such a relationship that our values are similar and right on the same page, and we both believe in volunteerism, and we are really lucky to have the flexibility that we have in our work schedules, in our business, to do things that need to be done, that should be done, and that we enjoy doing. So Chip, thanks. We're Grand Strategies. We do business consulting work to small businesses. A little commercial for us, Chip. Okay, if I get extra credit for that. Thank you. But you know what this really comes down to is just helping people, and I enjoy that. This is easy for me. It's effortless. In my business professional life as well as my personal life, it's just doing the right thing. And I always say to my kids, just do the right thing all the time and everything works out. It'll work out, it'll be fine if you just do the right thing. And sometimes you question that, but if you stay the course and do the right thing consistently, things do work out. So it's kind of who I am. I don't have to deviate. This is not difficult to assist people. It's easy. There's a lot of it, but there's a lot of crossover too. And again, with the quality people that that are in my life, all of you, that I can turn to, and the connections that I have there makes our work, my work, your work, collectively our community's work easier when you can just connect the dots and get people talking to one another. So anyway, yeah, there's a whole lot of things I've done, and I'm proud of all of them, and I'm not even going to get into the list because Shane's right, it's pretty extensive. And when Sandy and I were having that glass of wine, we started quantifying things and looking at stuff, and it's like, geez, that's right. And I kept thinking all this stuff, and from establishing the ZAC Fund at the University of Minnesota supporting cancer research with a researcher there we've got a great relationship with now, to platelet donations, to whatever, governor's fishing opener, pontoon boat giveaway deal that we did, Pat, and we had to go up and get that boat and bring it down. I raffled off tickets for 6-8 months, whatever it was, and that stuff. I mean, but it was fun. It is fun. We got great memories because of those trips and those projects that we've worked on with one another. I took a cat to the airport apparently one day. Is that... See, I forgot about that one. Okay, geez. There's always something, isn't there? So anyway, there are a lot of things that I've done, but I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't the right thing to do. And that's kind of just stay the course, do the right thing all the time, and things will work out. They always do. And this is a testament to that, I think. I've done the right thing all along, helping people, and here I am today. And I don't do the right thing for awards. I do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and it's to helping people. And that's who I am. So just as a couple more timely examples, Dr. Lovett, one of them was today. I just mentioned to him when we came in. Did you see that email that we got? And we got an email from one of my connections at the University of Minnesota that he actually helped me connect with. And these are a couple of professors that have gravitated and I always need somebody to, I have these way out there things going on in my head, and I get these connections going that are way out there. And the whole University of Minnesota School of Education connection is I've got the university and 2 universities in Krasnoyarsk, Siberia connected with one another, and faculty are working together now. It's hard to do, but it's fun for me. It was a challenge to get somebody at the University of Minnesota who would go with me to Russia, and I don't even know these people, but I was able to get to the right guy at the university through Dr. Lovett, whose job was what was he? He was the director of international initiatives for the School of Education at the University of Minnesota, and Dr. Lovett got me to this guy. So I had to have coffee with this guy. I went down there and I tell him about this great opportunity to go to Russia and get connected with these universities there. I'd already been there. I'd been there and met these faculties at these other universities, and I had to come back and find a partner here somewhere. And this guy, so I'm sitting having coffee with this guy and trying to sell him on why he should go to Siberia. Okay? He's from Minnesota, and he's going, okay, there's probably a few other places. Yeah, I'm the director of international initiatives, but why couldn't it be Tahiti or somewhere warmer than Siberia? And anyway, I was able to get Dr. Johnstone on board, got him on an airplane, took him to Siberia, and introduced him to some people. He came back then. Again, he was just the director of initiatives to find projects. He's like, okay, this is a tougher sell for me now to go back to my faculty and find some professors here that want to partner with somebody there. And so he's just kind of the scout out there looking for these projects. Well, he came back, and again, it's back to this whole Siberia thing. And he's going, okay, this is a tough sell for me, but I'll do my best. And he was able to find 2 professors, Renata Ticha and Brian Avery, that took it on. They go, yeah, this is cool, so they'll do it. So anyway, the email we got today was from the 2 of them. They're applying for a peer-to-peer grant, which will be a collaborative thing with some other contacts that I have in Krasnoyarsk. And they're looking for a letter from Dr. Lovett for the school district and one from me on behalf of Rotary. And so it's just really cool to see that connection that happened a few years ago, and all of a sudden we've got these people talking to each other. And their initiative is working with special needs people. This is actually an adult special needs deal, kind of modeled after Merrick and PAI and New Tracks and their organizations. So that was today's email. Yesterday was actually another grant, same people coming to me with United States State Department grant for a collaborative thing that they thought would be great with Merrick. So I reached out to John Barker and said, hey, John, what do you think? Would you guys be interested in this? And so I'm continuously doing that kind of thing. And it's fun for me. It's a challenge to try to get a hold of these people that I know and I think respect me enough to listen when I call them or send them an email, and make these connections to help other people that I don't know. Okay, so that was yesterday and today. What's next? Okay, I figure you look at this and you go, well, what's next for me? I'm at the pinnacle, and I feel like I just won the Stanley Cup. All right, and I won this year, 2016 Cup holder here, right? So I'm not going to quit. This is who I am. I'll continue doing what I do. Stanley Cup of Volunteerism. That's what we have here in the Hill Legacy Award. I love that. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, helping people all around the world, here in our community too, and I'll be back next year to defend my title. Never been done, huh? Okay. I'm just kidding. There are a lot of people deserving here again, all right? But I'm not going to let up, I guess. I do have other things I'd like to do, and I'll continue. Next week, my wife and I leave for Seoul, Korea. On Wednesday, we're going to the Rotary International Convention. And she's coming home on the 1st. I'm staying a few extra days to go up to Cheerwon, Korea, which is on the DMZ, to the Border Peace School. And I'm going to be involved in the peace dialogue there. I have absolutely no idea what this is going to be, but it's another adventure that I got invited to. And the way I got invited was I had a Rotarian from St. Paul knew that I had these connections in Russia, and they really wanted to get some Russians to go to this peace dialogue thing. And so they contacted me, and she said, do you think your friends would like to do that? And I said, I think they would if I ask them. So sure enough, I reached out. I knew they would, and they would jumped all over it. They're like, sure, we'll go. So I lined it up, again, just connecting people that can help. And I got 2 women that are going to go to be a part of this thing. And the problem with this whole thing, though, was that right after I set it up, they called me back and said, well, you're coming too, aren't you? And I said, I had no intentions at all. I was just making the connection here. And consequently, I was like, well, I didn't have it in the budget, and I didn't have it on the schedule, and my wife didn't have the time off, so I wasn't planning to go. And so I kind of let it go because Sandy didn't have the time off, and I really didn't want to go by myself. And then she came back a couple days later, and she said, now, what were those dates again for Korea? I gave her the dates, and she said, well, I could go if I got back on the 2nd. I had to work on the 2nd. I said, okay, well, we can go to the convention, and then I'll just stay a couple extra days, and I'll do this peace thing up at the DMZ, and then you can come home. So that's what we're doing. So anyway, I'll be a week from Friday. I'll be on the DMZ in a meeting with Kim Jong-un, and for those of you that really know me, last time I was in Russia, I had an episode with I don't know. I guess it was the equivalent of their immigration guys, and but it was bizarre. It was pretty weird. We were in a restaurant, and these guys showed up and wanted to talk to the Amerikanski. That'd be me, and it's a whole story. But so I have had in my travels some memorable experiences, and so the DMZ, I'll stay back in the back of the pack a little bit. I won't be in the front. Okay. A few other things coming up. So we'll be in Korea. I get back on the 4th, and I think Judd on the 6th or 8th. I'm working with Scott Nielsen, and we're talking about the Triangle Park and the Veterans Memorial there. We're going to modify that, and my goal in our community here is one of my next goals here is to work on a pathway system in the community, and finally getting the pathways connected, so there's continuity, and we can actually ride a bike around the lake or jog around the lake. People do it all the time. It's used all the time. It'd be wonderful to have a decent trail to use. So this is part of it. The Triangle Park. When I sat in the first meeting, it was like, and I don't have a lot of connections over in Matamidi. I got a lot of friends in Matamidi, but I haven't had any connections where I've done anything constructive. So just destructive over there. So I'm happy to be on the other end now and be able to help out in a constructive manner. And but I thought, if we're going to do this, let's get a bike rack over here and let's get a fountain. If we're going to redo the park area here, let's get a fountain here, because people that are traversing the lake, to pop in and use the fountain, I think would be worthwhile. I've had a lot of people that have said that would be a great idea. So that's when I get back from Korea. We got that meeting. Other things I have going on, we have a golf tournament at Delwood Golf Course on the 1st of August. It's in support of our family fund in honor of my nephew, again, who passed away he had neurofibromatosis. And I won't ask you to say that again, but I've been saying it a long time, and I got it down. And the tumors that he had growing in his body turned malignant, and unfortunately he died of brain cancer at the age of 11. So we've been on a lot of things over time in support of Dr. Largaspada's lab, and this is a guy that again, I'm good at pointing and delegating, and my dad, the way the story goes is at their point in their lives now where they weren't done with Christmas gifts, and it was like, okay, we don't need gifts anymore, so we're gonna have a cause. And all this goes back probably 7 or 8 years ago. Their cause was Kefir Society, whatever it was. We're going to buy an animal, okay? And had a mega heifer society. That's it. Yeah, Kefir's that drink stuff, isn't it? Heifer Society. That's it. Okay, Heifer Society. Yes, we can buy an animal. We can buy chickens or a donkey or whatever you want to buy, and there's a little book, and you can pick it out, and that's what we were going to do. Buy an animal if you'd like. And that was 1 year, and then next year it was another cause, and then the next year was something different. I finally said, Dad, let's pick a cause. I'm about winning. I'm about conquering. I want to make a difference. And all these causes are wonderful. They are. Don't get me wrong. But let's get focused on something that's meaningful to us. And consequently, it was my nephew who was sick. And let's do something for Zach with the neurofibromatosis issue that we have. But I'm not going to do it. You do it, because he's retired. So I could say, Dad, you go find somebody that's researching this neurofibromatosis thing, and let's try to help there. And consequently, he found a guy right here at the University of Minnesota that's using that as a platform to study tumors. And so we have a great relationship with this guy now. I was down there a couple weeks ago with Craig Drake and a few other Rotarians. Jim Hunt was there, and anybody else go to the lab? You two, and we had about 6 of us down there. That I can call this guy and set up a tour, and we'll go down and talk to him about what he's got going. And they're doing some really world-class stuff that's amazing. And the progress that they appear to be making, again, I don't know anything about it, but it sounds good. He's either doing a lot of really good things or he's a really good salesman. And but it's fun, and it's rewarding to know that we have that connection, and the money that we raise and the things that we're doing supports him and his lab and his staff right there. It's grassroots. They're doing research there, and they do appear to be making some great progress. Okay, let's see, is my time up yet? I was told it's my time. Yeah, I'm getting close here, all right? My Rotary involvement is very dear to me, and that's never going to change. I wouldn't have it any other way. Rotary is very important to me. I'm excited, too. My connections, as I mentioned, now I've got a connection to Matamidi. This is really cool, because I haven't had a connection helping in a charitable way or as a volunteer in Matamidi before. Century College. In my presidency at the White Bear Rotary Club last year, I formed a Rotaract Club at Century College, which are kind of junior Rotarians, and found some really top-class, top-notch students that are involved in that. And now we're going to lose Mitchell, so I don't know. I'm a little concerned there, but we'll get some new kids. You got new kids coming in, right? We'll keep them coming. The YMCA. Shane, I'll continue to walk those halls for the next 40 years. That's my plan. And I figured, I was thinking about that, and I thought, you know what? Probably 30 years from now, we're going to have to fix it again, aren't we? Another capital campaign to do something else to the Y? Yeah, well, I'm just like... anyway, again, I just want to really humbly thank all of you, and I want to leave you with a quote that I found the other day. And then I'll be done. No act of kindness is too small. The gift of kindness may start as a small ripple that over time can turn into a tidal wave affecting the lives of many. And I'm a ripple, I think. That's my goal, is to be a ripple. Continue to be a ripple. So thank you. Thank you very much.
We always save the invoice for last, so it's going to cost you plenty.
Hey, no problem.
So what the award says is the J. Stanley and Doris Hill Legacy Award, established to honor J. Stanley and Doris Hill for the remarkable commitment to community service. This award has been created to acknowledge an area citizen who has given a lifetime of outstanding service to his or her community, and is presented to Greg Bartz 2016. And the sponsors are the three foundations here. And if you really want to know something, I mean, when we interviewed Greg, the secretary of our foundation, or our group, came with me, and she took notes, and I listened and talked a little bit. But that's when you really get to know who Greg is. And he is even so much more inside than he has been able to tell us. You can only imagine. But it was probably the finest conversation of my lifetime. It really was.
Really?
And thank you. Well,
I thought it was just a cup of coffee. Hey,
we had to have an excuse. Okay.
wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, Judd, would you mind turning towards the camera both of you so I can get that shot?
Oh, you want to hold this up?
You're both
Yeah, I was
got
running my way.
video.
Eyeball to eyeball stuff.
Okay.
So, anyway, I'll let you go. Thank you. Well, at this point, we want to thank you all for being here, being patient. You know, as I had more time to collect my thoughts, I remembered how last year was my first year in this job. And for those of you who were here, you might remember that when I introduced the Hill sisters, I introduced the Hill daughters, and everyone except I knew that I was wrong. And we went from there. It was one laugh after another, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm delighted that you're here to laugh again this year. Well, I thought, I don't know what I did, but whatever it was, it turned into magic, and I could not recreate it tonight. I'm sorry. But there are a lot of cookies left, and there's some punch and some coffee, and we would ask you to stay and spend as much time as you'd like to, and get to know the people that you don't see every day. It becomes increasingly more important. And I usually give a little talk at the Memorial Day Parade in Matamidi, and at this age in my life, it has become very important for me to stress to the younger people who are there that they need to be asking questions and taking notes of their friends and their parents, because there are so many great ideas and stories out there that will never come out. And my kids say, "Dad, are you writing a book?" I said, "No, I haven't started yet." Well, you know, you're getting older every year, and you know, we don't want to feel guilty if you don't feel guilty. I said, "Well, I suppose it's weekly or monthly. I think of something I wish that I had asked my grandfather, or my mother, or my father, even my late wife. You know, it just, so I'm saying to you, take the notes, see your friends, write a book, write an essay, whatever it is, but do something that will help you remember that person and that story long after they're gone." Thank you for being here tonight.